WBOK, welcome, New Orleans.
Cecilia.
The following program is a paid program that doesn't necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the staff, management, and advertisers of WBOK.
All right, family. What's happening? Welcome to the True Love Movement Tuesdays. This is Brother Shaq. Right here on WBOK 1230 AM. Real talk for real times here in New Orleans. We'd like to welcome you, family. Dropping them jewels, yeah.
That's my song.
Showed up your song.
Really my song, like. I like to listen to it.
That's really your song. As Mama Fire is saying, that is in fact her song. She wrote it.
Yeah.
Produced by Filthy Phil.
Come on.
Back in some time ago, huh?
Long time. Maybe 2011?
Maybe 2011.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit before that.
Maybe before that. So that's a classic, y'all.
Yeah.
Dropping them jewels, theme music, and a great theme song. We're glad to hear it too, and we're also glad to be here with you, family, joining us here on this nice, warm outside. We are in summer. It's hot as July, July 23rd, 2019, here in New Orleans on WBOK 1230 and Real Talk for Real Times. We'd like to shout out our Facebook Live family for joining us as well. So many ways to connect. Simply like the True Love Movement page on Facebook, and you can join us live here in the studio, as well as catching us on www.wbok1230m.com on the web, and the WBOK 1230m app available for Google Play and in the App Store. And of course, your AM dial on 1230. And so we are grateful for you all joining us. We know some of you on the way home. Folks are getting ready to gearing back up to go back to school, and folks are getting off from work.
Whoa.
Back to school is upon us.
Man.
Short summer, especially for the educators and school people out there. And for many of the parents too, who are getting somewhat of a break. We're winding that down and getting in gear. We're honored that you've chosen to take this ride with us, because there's so many things that you all could be doing. And so we're grateful that you have chosen to ride with True Love Movement. So what's happening, Mama Fire?
Oh man, change is happening. Yeah, there's some serious changes going on around us, in our environment, in our spaces. Yeah, change is what's happening.
Change, definitely, family change. A lot of big changes.
Can't be afraid of that, man. Can't be afraid of changing. Because if our lives don't look like the way we want it to, we should change to make it so.
That's right. That's right. Anything that you can start and stop, you can change.
Yes.
Anything you can start and stop, you can change, because essentially that means you control it. So.
And we can't be afraid of change. You know, as a people, we're afraid of change, never realizing that change is happening all the time.
Right.
You know, change is always happening, and so we tend to get scared. You know, as a people, we've internalized fear.
Right.
We've been through a lot of fearful things, and so it's in our bones. You know, it's in our blood, in our DNA, in our cells. You know, fear is.
Fear
and so we got to learn how to detox it, even from our bones. You know, our spirit and our soul are so amazingly ancient that we can use those things in order to heal fear.
Right.
To heal fear.
So you know, I was doing some work today, Mama Fire, talking about that very thing, about fear and about change.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we're fearful of. And when we were working, one of the things that came up was the fear of loss. And certainly identify with that. I understood that. My next question was right after that, though, to describe what it is that you think that you have in detail.
Uh-oh.
You know, like what do you
realize
think?
You don't have nothing.
Like, what do you think you have? And so we were able to get to a lot of that idea about loss, or the fear of loss, is rooted more in principle because of what you just described about the historical and cultural losses that our people have suffered.
Yes.
And so that, you know, anything that even looks like a loss is undesirable in principle. But, you know, again, what do you really have, you know?
Yes.
And in the having of it, is it a possession, or what exactly is it?
Right.
So we were able to get there. And also, and I don't have my journal because I wanted to talk about it, but I remember what it was because it came to me very clearly about the things in the denial of things, which for me I know has been a very I said to the brother, I said, man, you know, denial is like hot sauce. You know what I'm saying?
How so?
Well, because we put, you know, denial on everything.
Uh-oh.
Like, we put denial on everything. And that's what I was saying. You know, I don't really even use hot sauce like per se, but I thought about how denial
who do, yeah.
is like a condiment, really, like, and we just put on anything, and it seems to go on anything, even things that are not really related. And I said, but what I was doing even in that moment was looking at things denied and things that I've denied or been in denial about, and then really not passively saying, well, that's just denial, but like denial of what? And then really looking at, you know, in detail what those things were. Like what is being denied? What am I denying? And then we got to, well, if there's some denial going on, it's because there is the fear of loss, and then the fear of confronting the potential of the loss. So then that came, the fear of confronting the potential of the loss. And so then we moved from the denial up, because like think about a protractor or a half circle. And so there's denial there, because this is how it's in my head. I was just listening and then I was writing it because I was empathically having the experience too, or sharing the experience. And then so going from denial to moving up to patience. And then because you know the idea is that, well, nothing doesn't happen just like that, and then things take some time, and you know, there's processes, and you don't just quit, you don't just stop, there's patience. And so then right after patience, about the midway point of the half circle, I wrote time. Because then by the time you get to time, there's been a significant investment of time, which was spawned from patience. And so it's kind of like the halfway point there about time. And then we moved and we started declining after it got to time. And it's like, well, how long does this take, or how long do I have, or what is it, that whole time thing about? Then it started descending on the other side of the slope, no, not slope, but the half circle, to hope. And then, because hope happens after, you know, the time has been there, you've been patient, and then, well, I hope, you know, whatever doesn't happen or does happen, there's the hope. And we got into the, and shout out to Brother Gilbert too, for he was the first person that really I heard talk about hope in a way that made sense. Well, no, that's not true. You were actually the first person that said, you know, hope is dope. And we got, you know, we broke it all the way down about hope being dope, and how, you know, hope is dope. Because there's so many derogatory things that are said about hope, which are all true, by the way. But what he said when he talked about hope, it was dope. But he said where he compared it with excitement. He says, like, you know, when you have excitement about something, how do you feel? Describe how you feel. And what that description amounted to was some certainty, because that's why you were excited. He says, well, describe how you feel when you hope something. And what comes out of that is that there's some doubt. It may be this much, but there's still some doubt. Mm-hmm. And so in terms of being able to move in confidence, you're going to move better with excitement than you will with doubt. So hope is ineffective as far as movement is concerned. So I like that. I also like hope being dope, but also like how that laid out in a comparison to excitement. Mm-hmm. And so once the hope is waning, now you downward, almost back to the same parallel of denial ends up being acceptance. And I wrote acceptance there, which is on the same level with denial, because it's acceptance of the thing that you knew that you were denying from the beginning. And so that the whole exercise or the whole struggle was the lesson of bringing you right back to essentially where you were, that you have to confront the thing that you were attempting to deny.
I like that.
So that was some of today's work that was as much for the brothers, and that was kind of a theme too with everyone. That was kind of a theme, and as well as it for me. So that was good because we were all really in that. So yeah.
Oh boy, denial can come in many, many different ways, mm-hmm. and our people really struggle. All people, I guess, but our people especially struggle with denial because it's just too hard to face it.
Right.
And then we have this thing, and I don't know if you know about this, but when something could happen, there's a possibility or a probability of something happening, and we don't say it. We just don't say it. Don't talk about that.
Right.
That's also a form of denial.
Yeah.
Because what fear needs is to face it. What anything needs is to face all the different things that maybe possibly could happen. Just because you're not saying it is going to happen. Right. You're just saying, okay, I need to prepare for this. I need to prepare for this. I need to prepare for that. What will happen if this happens? Just to get your mind wrapped around the whole thing. But our people, especially, I've seen it so much in our people that, when things are going downhill, and we say, no, things are great, things are wonderful, things are popping, just to I guess to maybe speak life into it.
Right.
But it's still a denial of what could potentially happen. And I think it's old school. I think that's an old school way of dealing with things, shh. Because you can still face something and speak life into it at the same time. Right. You don't have to say, well, no, things are going downhill, everybody's going to die, everybody's going to, right. You don't have to give into that either. But to say, all right, things are looking kind of this, and in an effort that things kind of decrease or decline, we could do this, and this should happen, and and to think about those things. Because I think it's a way of denial. What do you think?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I agree that, I agree that even resonates, with me, particularly because I know the power of words, and so I'm very reluctant to call a thing because there's some thought that if I hold out and don't call it that, or don't say that, there's a chance that won't happen, but almost that if I do say that,
then it will happen.
Then it will, in fact, happen. So there's some thought that,
Ooh, you powerful for that. Or anybody who believes that all they have to do is say it and it happens. There is the part of speaking life into something,
Definitely.
or even speaking in something into existence. There is that. But there's also work that has to come along with that. Because
Right.
if we could just speak into existence, Brother Shaq, there would be abundance, prosperity, there would be, all health, all well-being, all for all of our people, and for the, what I'm saying? There's work that has to go into creating and speaking into existence.
That's right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of denial in that, and I think moving denial out of the way to face what's really happening and then speak life into that thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a process.
That's right. The brother Thaddeus Prosper says faith equals hope plus work.
Definitely the work. Yes,
Right.
yes. You are definitely right about the work. And, faith is a theme. Faith has been a theme today. I was today and also this week, and it seems like that on Monday, like the theme will pop up and it will just be the theme for the whole week for everybody that you with. It'll resonate in some way.
Right.
But I've been thinking about faith myself, and like, because a lot of people want to take this new age mind kind of stuff and say that it's satanic. I mean, I've heard people say it's satanic. I've heard people say it's mumbo jumbo. I heard people say it's, you know, not of God, and it's, you know, I mean, yeah, because, you know, I dig into YouTube videos sometimes. It's like what do they call that? A guilty pleasure. Sometimes I'll sit and fall into a YouTube hole, a black hole of like esoteric, metaphysical kind of things. This is what I like to do sometimes on my downtime. And then I fall all the way sometimes into like this satanic type of thing, because when you start talking about the self, or you start talking about our power as the self, sometimes it falls into that caveat. And it's not that or whatever. But I was speaking to a sister about she's a very Christian sister, and we get down, you know, because I can do that too. I can talk about God in that way, and because it's just code switching. That's all it is. It's code switching. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm a different religion from you, or I'm not a religion, so I can't talk to you about that.
Language,
it's code switching, right? So she's struggling with some things about faith, and so she told me her pastor said to see it before you see it. And I said, oh, wow, that's just like manifestation and visualization.
Right.
And she said, oh, man, thank you for making that connection, because whenever I hear manifestation and visualization, I think of this is voodoo, or this is black magic, or something like that. But if your pastor is saying you have the ability to see, or you know, speak into existence, or say the desires of your heart, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It is about being we have the capability to visualize something that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
We have that, and it doesn't mean that you're disconnected from Jesus or disconnected from God to be able to, or the Bible or whatever, to be able to do that. You are not taking any power away from God when you say that this is a desire of my heart, and I can see myself doing this, and I can speak myself doing this, and I could, you know what I'm saying?
That's right, yeah.
So making a connection, to me, faith is the ability to see something that is not there.
Right. And I think to that point, that, you know, it couldn't possibly be what really would kind of a God would there be if that invested you with the potentiality to do that, but then you weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, we were made in God's image.
Right.
So God has the ability to visualize and create, as well as we have the ability to visualize and create.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
It's a beautiful thing. Now, you know, faith definitely has some work to it too. You can't just sit up and visualize all day, because I wish I could, because I'm really, really good at it. I wish I could just visualize all doggone day, you know, but it takes work. It takes movement. It takes opening up to opportunities. It takes releasing fear, you know, and saying, this opportunity came, it makes me scared, but I'm going to take it, you know.
Right.
When one door closes, another one or many more open, and not giving up, you know, all those things has to do with faith.
Right. So the necessity of faith here in this place is part of our human experience. Even it ain't even so much a metaphysical thing, but it's a requisite for this plane. Would you say that?
Say that one more time.
The possession of and the activation of faith.
Yes.
Is a requisite for, you know, being here on this plane. That it ain't even a metaphysical thing. It's a physical thing.
It definitely is physical, and it's physical in that we can't see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't actually actively see it, but it's there. We all know it's there. you know, so yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
The inevitability, I guess. The inevitability of. So what we looked at, to that end, was the lake. When we're actually sitting on the steps of the lake, and I don't know how many of our folks who are listening or watching spend time out on the lakefront or sitting, not necessarily on the benches, but even further nearer to the water on those stairs, you know, those steps.
Yes.
And so watching the tide and the current hit, the ebb and the flow of the tide, and the dance that it is, and I noticed how there's a particular step, maybe the fourth one down, because I don't know how many go down all the way down, but there's maybe the fourth one from the top. You could see how the edge of it was frayed. Like, in other words, the water had been, you know, as they would say,
corroded,
crashing.
maybe.
No, it wasn't corroded.
No, the step itself.
Well, the step wasn't corroded.
Oh.
The actual, you know, the edge where the step makes the angle, where it makes the right angle, so the corner of it.
Yeah.
What was happening was, visibly, all the way across, as far as the eye could see, left and right, the rocks that made the gravel and the cement were separating. In other words, what was happening is that step was disappearing. The edges
being
of the
corroded.
the edges of
the
it was
water.
right.
Yeah.
The soft power of the water.
Yes.
You know, the soft, persistent power of the water, again and again and again and again and again and again over time, was literally removing that step, and, you know, actually metaphorically removing all the steps.
Mm-hmm.
But because all the water did all day was that. That's all it did.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those real examples on how they say, you know, a persistent drop, you know, again and again and again on the same spot will change the spot.
Yes.
It will physically change. And so we were looking at that, and I was thinking about the inevitability of, like we just talked about that over time, it's got to happen, it's going to happen. And then I said, well, or what we discovered was maybe because what if this is happening? So then the conversation went on to, that's like New Orleans, man. That's how, like, New Orleans in 100 years is going to be underwater. And I said, probably so. I said, and I guess it is because it should be. I said, well, what do you mean it should be? I says, well, the water, science and nature say that this is like water. Like, this is all marsh and small land, and, you know, though that folk have built on top of it, perhaps it shouldn't be. That's what the water is saying. That's how come the water really wants to go where the water wants to go. And when you look at this lake is somebody decided they wanted the water to flow this way, or they wanted the water to be here. So they say they built this, they dug this lake, they built this, and they set barriers on the lake, and they had the audacity to even use water in the concrete to formulate the barrier. Now the water is beating up against the concrete, dissolving it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was saying maybe that it should not, maybe the whole lake is wrong. Not that the water is bad, but the concept of
the man-made
right,
part of it.
The man-made part of the concept of we want the water to be over here and be this way. It may be the thing. So that was an interesting thing too. Shout out to Donna Johnson, who's joined us, and so forth. What you say?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody that's joined us on Facebook Live, as well as on WBOK 1230 AM Real Talk for Real Times. Mm-hmm. This is True Love Movement Tuesdays, and we getting heavy with it, just talking about our day.
Right.
Yeah, in the beginnings of our week, doing great work with True Love Movement. Yeah, Brother Shaq, so August 4th, just to let everybody know,
that's right.
We are celebrating our birthdays. I'm celebrating mine because the party that we had decided to have was postponed due to Hurricane Barry foolishness, and Brother Shaq's birthday is coming up in the next couple of weeks, so we're going to have a party together, and it's also a fundraiser for True Love Movement. So True Love Movement has never had a fundraiser,
Not
Brother
one
Shaq.
time.
We have never asked anybody for donations, anybody for money, anything like that. And most likely, we should have. We should have. Over
Right.
the years, True Love Movement has been operating, asked for that. But I know our people struggle, and I know our people, but I also know our people like to party. Right? And they like good music and good energy and all those things. So August 4th at Cafe Istanbul is the rescheduling of my party, but also we're adding Brother Shaq to the mix. We are celebrating True Love Movement, celebrating Brother Shaq and I. as we hit 45, or what we're calling 40 Fly, and it's at Cafe Istanbul from 6 to 10. So we would love if you can come on out, and you can purchase a ticket. It goes to True Love Movement and all of our free services that we provide all the time. And you can also give more. You can give more than $10. You can tell people. We'll have a place to donate online. And so we are calling out for our community to come and support us.
That's right.
True Love Movement is asking for donations. This is our fundraiser, and we're thankful to celebrate each other and ourselves, as well as celebrate True Love Movement. August 4th, Cafe Istanbul. There'll be a flyer coming out soon, and we would love for y'all to be there and be a part of it.
Definitely, family. Like Mama Fi is saying, we've not asked for anything.
Not asked for a dime, and all the things that we've done people know about, and all the things we've done that people don't know about. Right. We keep a lot of things confidential. We have to.
Sure.
We keep all of our stuff confidential, and we've never reached out for donations before. People have given small amounts of donations just because they're excited about something like this happening, but we are thankful. We don't have to beg, but now we're just being humble and asking for monetary support.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And for those of you who have ever donated to anything or anyone before, you know what that's about. For those of you who have who we've supported in the past through various funding efforts or organizing efforts or awareness efforts or you name it efforts, Mama Fi.
Yes.
We're talking to you. We're straight up asking and just for that reciprocity.
Yes.
We certainly would not ask if there wasn't a need to ask. And I think
there is a need.
That's what I'm saying. I think folks should understand that too, that this is not for the sake of asking. This capitalist system that we're all a part of, it works on every one of us, and it works on True Love Movement just the same. And so True Love Movement again is asking and offering, a really good time too.
Oh yeah.
This is not quite on the corner with a sign saying, put something in the cup. This is in exchange for a very good time and a good experience for a worthy cause.
Yes. So be looking out for our flyer coming out real soon.
And we'll be looking out for you at Cafe Istanbul on August 4th from 6 o'clock to 10.
6 to 10. That's a Sunday.
That's a Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, take care of all your business on the weekend and come on through to start your week off right.
Wind it on down with us at Cafe Istanbul on 8/4/19. I thought about, I was getting gas the other day. In yours, I was getting gas, and a brother asked me for some money, and he was standing over there, and he said, hey, bro, you got some change? I said, brother, listen, I am so lean right now. I said, I know it may look different to you because I'm pulling up in the car, and maybe you don't have one, and maybe I don't know, but I know it seems different because I'm going, I'm in here getting gas, and but I assure you that I do understand, and I know what it is, and there's no way that I can give you this little bit of change that I have left without putting myself in the harm's way.
Yeah.
I don't know, can you understand that? Can you empathize with me on that? And he's like, well, yeah, bro, but I mean, he said, well, how much gas you got? I said, brother, I'm going to put $20 in the tank. That ain't even a full tank. So he said, well, but he said, that's what's wrong with our people. You go in there, you give that Arab, $20. He don't care nothing about you. I said, well, listen, bro, first of all, I didn't give him anything. I exchanged $20 that I had for $20 worth of gas into this car so that I can get around to get a couple of more dollars. That's what I did. I said, so see how I didn't give him nothing? I said, so I'm saying all that to say what he expressed to me, even as a brother, he said, well, I'm living under the bridge, my family under the bridge, and so forth. And I said, well, I hear you, man. I said, but in truth, those of us here in New Orleans, who are black, statistics will tell you that are very near to that.
Oh yeah, 1 paycheck away from the bridge.
53% of the city's in poverty, man. I said, so most of us are only just a few steps away from being right there. So the distance isn't so great. So understand that I didn't go in here and give this man who you say don't care nothing about me and hates me $20 like I'm some kind of a fool. I'm in a capitalist society. He got the gas. I need the gas. I got the money. He want the money. We just did a deal. That's the only thing that happened. I said, now what's a little bit different than in the situation is, what you're suggesting is that I just give you some money. We're not exchanging anything. I'm not getting anything for that. And I understand what the brother had or didn't have, and I wasn't trying to put that on him, but I wanted to help to shift the thinking.
Yeah.
That I'm not giving anyone anything. You know, I'm not being a fool. I'm not being played. I'm not being a duck or something. I'm not giving this man $20 and leaving with nothing. I'm getting gas because I got to, but that's what the car run on. You know,
and it just so happened it's the Arab, because trust me, when there's a black gas station, we be at that thing.
That's right.
We be at everything black that we possibly can. And listen, if anybody knows you, Brother Sheck, they know you support and love black people all the time. And if you had it, you would have gave it.
Absolutely.
If you had it to give that brother, you would have gave it.
I still gave him some change. Because
Right.
that's what he asked for, some change. And I gave him some change. You know, that's what he asked for. But
yeah, and we, you know, we got a lot twisted. We got a lot twisted in our minds, and not saying we got it twisted. It's been twisted. It's been twisted for us. It has been spoon-fed, twisted, and we have ingested it as this twisted, wicked way that it is. So a lot of our people don't even understand that, you know. And yeah, we all of us, it's hard for everybody, and we get that. You know,
Yes.
we understand that. And some people are willing to pay $10 to get into a good show. A good show with good vibes, good memories, good, you know, lighting for pictures and good food and whatever. So let's see what they do.
let's see what it do. And
Yeah.
also to remember the exchange part of it, because I think that's like when we opened up the show, we were talking about loss and potential loss and fear of loss and all those kinds of things. And we look at the different places and how we, you know, and not all of us, but there are usually different categories of things that people spend money for. You know, so it's not even people who say they don't have any money, they just may not have money for that or for that
Yeah.
or for you. But that doesn't say they don't have money. It comes into a matter of their values and the priorities. Because
Yes, that's exactly right.
some folk will spend, you know, I mean, you know, money is money. So whatever a piece of clothing costs, whatever a meal costs, whatever, I mean, you know, it's just money. So that's not the thing. What we know is, and part of the beautiful thing that I think that I see happen in the exchange and doing business with and exchanging and circulating dollars with black folk, because it ain't our dollars, it's other people's dollars. I mean, they came up with this whole monetary thing.
That's right.
We're a barter and trade people because we're looking at how Ubuntu can be a real thing. We're looking at how I am because we are. So
That's
there
right.
ain't no need to exploit nobody. That ain't our nature. But this whole idea of the haves and the have-nots and the worthiness and worthlessness, that's part of the concept of capitalism. But when we are in this capitalistic environment and we exchange money with each other, it's just a clear thing that says, you know what, that's valuable to me. And I want to see you, you know, do well with it. I want to see you pay your light bill or your mortgage or put gas in your car or pay your insurance or pay your phone or pay. I mean, that's what we there's a spirit about it.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
There's a spirit about it.
Yes, the give and receive flow, like we talk about all the time, you know. But hey, you know, and let me just say that this give and receive flow idea was a very brilliant idea that we came up with when we talked about a relationship show. And so if you hear people talking about that give and receive flow, please let them know True Love Movement created and coined that phrase and that
go.
whole formula, right? We make formulas here at True Love Movement, and we use them and we support our people with the formulas.
Right.
Formulas that have been proven to work through
That's right.
our own healing and our own healing journey. So,
Right.
Brother Shaq, if you hear anybody talking about give and receive flow,
Right.
please know that that's a True Love Movement we got product.
No
That is a
doubt.
True Love Movement formula. So
Look, as a matter of fact, the brother today was talking about give and take, and I said, no, give
and
what?
receive.
You're right,
Listen, when we talk about take, we had a show called The Takers.
The takers.
The
that's
Takers,
right.
the people
Man, that was
who
a
take.
many years
We need
ago.
to try to put that, make sure we get that and put that on YouTube, because that was a really good show.
That was a good
And
show.
even the give and receive show, because I tell people all the time
Right.
about the give and receive flow
Uh-huh.
that happens between two people that love each other, that happens
Right.
between people that love themselves
Right.
and are able to see themselves in you, right? And so that give and receive flow that happens. But the real part about it is that you got to give people credit for things they've created.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is a great segue, Mama Fi, to today's show as we're getting into the True Love Movement Tuesdays, this July 23rd, 2019.
Yes.
Right off in the Leo season. As the brother was telling me today, who happened to be a Leo, I'm completely subdued this time. I forgot, but you know, the today's topic is cite the power.
Cite the power.
Cite the
Cite
power.
the power.
So that's cite. That ain't just
You got to
cite
cite the
with the
power.
C. That's
Cite the
with
power.
I mean cite with the S, but it's
Yes.
cite with
You
the
got
C.
to cite the power. I love it.
Like you cite where you got it from, because you know, it's intellectual property, but B, you know, paying homage to people, because we're all brilliant. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
we are.
Like, and even in just now, I'm talking about the brother. I just don't know the brother's name, but the brother helped me, you know, at the gas station with working through that particular thing. But, you know, it didn't just come out of the I don't know. It just didn't come out of the air conditioning vents like it was a thing that happened. It was somebody. It was a human being, you know. And like you're talking about the give and receive flow. You know, there's reason for giving it credit. You know, there's reason for crediting where you got that from. You know, Mama Fi, you have been saying for many years. You know, I'll begin with you, though it's a collective of us. But I'll begin with you, and you've been saying it, you know, forever. Because you have so many ideas, and you're so free with your ideas, and people hear your ideas, they resonate with them, they like them, and then they take them.
Yes, they become inspired, which is
They
understandable.
become
They're
inspired.
inspiring.
And then they attempt to inspire you with the same idea.
Yeah, they got to cite the power. It's
Right.
good karma. It's good
Right.
karma to show that, you know, and then someone will do the same thing for you.
Right.
As you grow into your understanding, your own understanding for you, that can also inspire other people. You want people to say, you know, my sister such and such told me such and such and so and so. And it's not
Right.
about ego, Brother Shay.
No.
This is not about ego. We know intellectual property gets stolen all the time.
All the time.
You know who are the main stealers?
Who still?
The ones who pillage and steal and take without asking
Got
and
to be
hurt
some history in
and
there.
rape and do all these things. It is it's white supremacy and racism and people who purport all of these things.
Correct.
That is who. And we know we are not like that.
Right.
We have learned a lot from that.
We have
But we
learned.
are not those people. We are people who pay homage.
That's right.
We are people who say thank you. We are people who say, you know, a sister once told me such and such and so.
Sure.
So we are people that cite the power.
And that's a powerful example. And I hope y'all understand this, family, like where that's coming from and where that's going, because, you know, I saw something, you know, I get a lot of my news not from the television or the radio, but I get it, you know, through the social media. And I was looking the other day, there was a sister, I may be able to find it now, but it jumped out at me because the sister said she did like a screenshot of, I think it was maybe a text messaging, I wasn't quite sure, but it might have been like a Facebook message, but it was some kind of exchange she had with the person, and she didn't redact their name or anything like that. And they were scolding her because apparently, according to her, she saw something she'd written in their thing that they had made a whole thing of it, and it was all of her work. And so she just said, what she showed at least was something to the effect of, listen, if you're going to use all of my work,
yes,
at least give me credit for the work. And so the person apparently took issue with that and really had some choice and harsh things to say to her. And that's what she was like, but it's mine. Like, you took my stuff and then you refuse to give me credit and then act like I'm wrong or being ridiculous for asserting that, A, this happened and you did it. You know, like, what's up with that?
But a lot of the time, and not all the time, but it's women. It's people taking things from women. And women, black women especially, are brilliant. We are brilliant-minded.
Most
things,
definitely.
especially when we've learned to tap into spirit, and we let spirit lead, and we say things that we don't even have to think about. It just kind of pours. It uploads. Remember we talked about that? It uploads,
sure.
And we release it without any, without saying, now listen, this is copyrighted and this is trademarked, so just release things that are healing, wonderful things. And a lot of the time, it's the women who get the backlash. A man can say, now, you need to make sure to cite the power on that, brother. And it'll easily say, oh, yes, we want to tell you that Brother Shaq said that. And he tells us that. But when women say, no, this is my work. And I just want to say that you should, such and such and so and so. I want to just give a shout out to Lloyd Dennis. He says reciprocity is love.
Yeah,
come on,
Lord.
bro. That's the love doctor.
Right
that
on.
brother knows all about love.
Right
the
on,
anatomy of love, And so reciprocity is love. And in this case, reciprocity, the reciprocity is somebody gives you something brilliant to think about. It resonates with you and inspires you. And then the reciprocity is, I got this from my sister, or I got this from my brother, such and such and so and so. And Brother Shaq, we do it all the time. We do it all the time. Francis Cress Welsing is someone who has completely inspired True Love Movement.
Yes.
Dr. Joy DeGruy is somebody who has really inspired True Love Movement. Barbara Major from People's Institute has, and even Ron, everyone who has inspired us to be able to say these things. We always say their name and pay homage to our people. When we say something like my mama used to say, or my daddy used to say, though, that's citing the power.
Yep. And I think that I definitely don't want to make this an intellectual exercise, and that's not what we're going.
Yeah.
And I know that, but on a transactional level, I don't want this to come off like we're saying, you got to say where you got it from. What we're talking about is not making this an intellectual thing and making it a feeling thing.
Yes.
This is a feeling thing.
You want to do it with love in the right way.
So there's some inspiration that comes along with that. So whenever someone says that, like Baba Lloyd is saying, Lloyd Dennis saying reciprocity is love, we said, because he's on the Facebook Live, we said, Lord Dennis said, reciprocity is love. We didn't say, because reciprocity is love, right? Because that's the kind of stuff folk be doing, and it seems like it's small, but if he said it, then we should honor him in saying it, because all it does is it really illuminates our humanity, the humanity of other people, and it solidifies our connection. Like, yes, you're brilliant, I'm brilliant, we're all brilliant. We're not brilliant in competition.
That's right.
With one another. Like, there isn't I think that's what the American social construct and the advent of capitalism has really done to all of us, is the competitiveness.
Boy.
Well, it's the competitive, and the competitiveness and the dichotomous thinking, and if if you brilliant, if I say you brilliant, then that means I'm dumb.
That's right.
So I don't want to say you said that. I want to take that and I want to say
you
that.
You want to say credit for it because it resonated with
people
you.
To say, look how brilliant I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and yes. And I think some people don't even, they go from hearing it and it resonating to something that they believe. Right? So it goes from hearing it, it resonating, now you believe it, now you say it. Instead of, you're skipping a step. You're skipping a step, you hear it, it resonates, then you acknowledge. You acknowledge, this is what my sister told me, and she really wants me to heal, and she told me this, and it really worked. It pushed that button for me, and da-da-da. We forgetting that part. Right? And so we're saying these things as if they're law, and we're saying these things as if we are living this thing, but really what you were was inspired.
Right.
You know, you didn't make that connection of acknowledgement. That's important. Acknowledgement is very, very important. You know, when I talk to my sisters all the time, because I'm talking to my sisters all the time, I'm trying to really help a sister help herself to really come forward into the wonderful woman, the wonderful, creative, brilliant woman that she is. Right? So I often say we have to acknowledge what's going on. We have to acknowledge it. Acknowledge meaning is there, right? Then we have to accept that thing. Accept it and say, damn, this is true. Then we reflect. Then the work starts. Then the work starts. So acknowledgement is important. Acknowledgement is saying, that thing, I see that thing right over there. I see that thing, or I hear that thing, and that thing resonated with me. The acknowledgement part is important.
I agree from the acknowledgement of things, and also the acknowledgement of people and the humans.
Yes.
And I know that you weren't saying anything contrary to that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking about a brother I was working with today, and he'd gotten to a point where he was a little bit unsure of his direction, of his trajectory, and he was thinking about, you know, some of his spiritual teachers, and he was like, you know, I'm gonna have to ask him, you know, am I doing this right? Because of the time and distance between, you know, or things looking the way he thought they should look by the time, you know, he was there. And I said, well, so it sounds like you wanted to be affirmed or reaffirmed. And he was like, yeah, but he was also, with a little bit of shame, like he was kind of ashamed that that's what he really wanted. That's what he was saying he wanted. And I said, well, look, man, there's nothing wrong with that, because the deal is you as a human being, you're wanting human connection. You're wanting to be reaffirmed. You're wanting someone to say that yes, you are, and there's nothing wrong with that because you want to feel that. The question is, how come you don't feel sure? Which is the interrogation question, not a judgment question, but what is it that makes you not feel sure? And we were able to look specifically at what he was doing, what he was attempting to do, and what the outcomes was looking like, to find out that we were still working off that same little denial, patience, time, hope, acceptance thing I was telling you earlier. We were still working off that, but this was someone else, because like you said, the theme will happen and it'll just be for everybody. But that was the case. It was like we had to dig into what about what was going on didn't feel like you were going right, and that you didn't have it, you couldn't find it in you, so you need someone outside of you who you may have a certain respect for to tell you what you already know. The question is, how come you telling you ain't good enough? And what is that about the relationship that you have with you, and then in comparison to the relationship or esteem that you have with your spiritual teacher? It wasn't a critique, but it was it was a critique, but it wasn't a criticism, because it helped the brother look at it and say, well, you know, you're right. So that it's okay to want to be affirmed, because that's the human part. The acknowledgement is, you know, our people, we have been and continue to be invisibilized.
Yes.
So we really do have a craving. I think it's a little bit more than a desire.
Definitely.
It's a craving because it's out of balance. There's been so much invisibilization.
Yes.
Now we gotta have equal parts of extreme acknowledgement to be able to swing back into a reasonable thing, because we've established collectively, Mama Fire, through lots of conversation and real frank and honest discussion with our people, that our people are insecure. We are not a secure people because we don't feel safe anywhere. So we're not operating from a standpoint of I feel safe and whole and secure and nothing can harm me, I have nothing to worry about. We don't even have that as part of the tools to really do a self-assessment.
Yeah, we don't even know what that means.
Yeah, so every self-assessment we do is rooted in that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, but we know that to be the case. So that's why I'm saying when we want to be acknowledged or reaffirmed, there ain't no shame in that. There needn't be any shame in that.
Not at all. I think when it's out of balance, it becomes the look of me syndrome, which you have spoke about.
Right.
When we have not dealt with the stuff, and we are, that exaggerated visibility, and Cite the Power on that.
Exaggerated visibility is, again, Barbara Major.
She's so brilliant.
That is a manifestation of internalized racial inferiority. The whole idea of, again, I'm going to make you see me, and that ends up looking like look of me, but that can be through what I'm wearing, or how I'm saying what I'm saying, or how I'm acting. But the idea is that it's attention getting, and it's an imposition of I'm going to impose myself on you.
Yeah, and that is it out of balance. That's the acknowledgement out of balance. In balance, though, it doesn't mean acknowledging something someone said is a bad thing. I think should be in the practice of doing that. We should acknowledge what people say and what people do, and that it touched us, and knowing that not only are we inspired by that person, but that we also have the ability to inspire ourselves and others. But what's the difference? What's the difference between just the acknowledgement of intellectual property or intellectual ideas or something inspiring, or original thought that's inspiring, and the look of me syndrome?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
I think the difference in the look of me syndrome is rooted in a different kind of spirit. Because the look of me say, look at me, don't look at them, look at me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so there's some competition in that. The acknowledgement is just more of the integrity that it's a fact. You know what I'm saying? So it's a fact in that it's completely okay to say, I don't know, I guess the whole look of me, and we've seen the look of me a whole lot, and there are folks who are perhaps listening to the show or watching the show that have suffered with the look of me, because it deals with a perception of fairness that ain't got nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? The idea is that it's unfair that so the way I've seen the look of me syndrome play out is that it's unfair that someone's paying all that attention to you. They should be paying attention to me. That's the impetus. And so the next thing is I'm going to do something to draw their attention away from you. And so that it then becomes every time someone's paying attention to someone's attention is somewhere else, the strategy from that person is I got to get them to look at me. So what kind of outrageous or egregious thing that I can do to just, so it really it's the worst kind of a thing, but it's still rooted in a deep, profound insecurity.
Yeah, invisibility.
And invisibility, which so.
Yeah. Well, when we're near the end of the first hour
already, huh?
This 2-hour time together, True Love Movement Tuesdays, has really been fantastic.
It has been.
We've been able to flesh out thoughts and ideas and concepts and stuff so much more than our just 1 hour show. So shout
That's
out
right.
to WBOK 12:30 a.m. We're gonna be calling out for some callers soon.
That's right. So first time callers, get your little fingers ready. 504-260-9265 on the other side of the break. 504-260-9265 on the other side of the break for the solution line. Cite the Power, baby. And Brother Shaq
Mama Fire.
coming back at you. Hold tight.
Hold it. So we've got some people saying and commenting things on our Facebook Live page. Thank you for being a part of our show today.
Right. Shout out to Thaddeus Prosper again. We got Sonia Marie, Donna Johnson. What's going on, Donna? So us helping us, Donna, over there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Love tuning in to hear y'all. She says powerful.
That's us helping us, and before us helping us, People's Institute's on Donna Johnson.
Oh, beautiful. Shout out to us helping us for the Healing Colorism event that happened last week.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Shout out to Shira. She did great. Shout out to everybody who showed up, even though it rained.
Showed up in the rain,
Man,
flood.
I couldn't imagine it being more people in the space. Like, people were like, oh, I was coming and it was raining so hard, I didn't know it was going to flood or whatever. So I'm like, 15 more people would have been there? Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Shout out to, because some of our elders, even like Mama Mariama, she got lost, but she still pushed and she got there, out there driving around in the rain trying to get there.
Yes. It's a little elusive to get there, but once you've been there once, you know where it is.
It's the green building. It's the nice, loud green building with the red trim and the black doors on it. So it's RBG, not by
RBG all the way.
accident, and nothing else around there looks like that. So shout out to Brother Al over there for taking a vision that he shared with me maybe some 9 years ago. And said, man, I'm gonna make this boxing gym community center, because that's what they're saying. The former Crescent City Boxing Gym is now us helping us, which is a community space. And there was an event there before Shira's event where I'm not sure what it was, but there was an event there with Mama Janice Hutchison. Was a part of that.
Malcolm X grassroots meeting.
So Malcolm X grassroots meeting, they had a meeting there, and then Sheila came with the healing colorism, and then after that was wrapped up, but not even all the way wrapped up, they had a repast come in there. So
it's a good space, man. It's a beautiful space.
It's a great space. You can go to Facebook and like the Us Helping Us Facebook page. It's got all of their contact information on there and some pictures, and so you can get an idea about what's happening at the space. But it's another resource, it's another resource for those lovers of black people here in New Orleans. And we definitely need safe black spaces. And
yes, we do.
Us Helping Us has demonstrated itself to be just that.
Shout out to my team. Yeah, I'm serious. This is a teachable moment. So shout out to my tea. Every day I make tea for myself as part of my self-care morning routine. And my tea is a sage tea. It's sage tea. Brother Shaq makes sure I have it because he knows how much I love it. And it's 2 sage teas. I put a tiny bit of honey and a half a lemon. And it's really, really been life-changing, making sure that I have tea, not only just for my body and my voice, but also like to know that this is something that I can do special for myself every day. And it's a healing tea, no caffeine, no BS in it. It's good. I think sage tea is good for like women issues as well as memory issues as well. It's a really good tea to have. And I think it's just the exercise of making sure that every day I take care of myself in this way.
Right on.
Self-care summer, y'all.
That's right.
I've been seeing everybody talk about self-care, but I don't see no hashtags. I don't know why. I figure maybe, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I don't know about the hashtag situation.
I don't know about the hashtag situation, but I think, it really could be, it could be much of what you were saying earlier. And what you were saying was just to really, I've observed the same thing. There's some aversion to the giving of the credit. There's some aversion to being a part of something. There's some aversion to, like, I'm gonna do some self-care, but like I'm just doing self-care. Because I might have seen something. It's like someone sees something that was inspired by self-care. But they were inspired by self-care summer, True Love Movements. We did it last year, and that self-care summer, that was your idea. To be succinct and precise and say you're citing the power.
Yeah.
And so doing that whole thing last year, we know it was very, very intricate and detailed. Every week we had something. Huh?
Every week it was something, yeah.
Right on.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, family. Welcome back to True Love Movement Tuesdays with your host, Brother Shaq.
And Mama Fire.
Right here on WBOK 1230 AM, Real Talk for Real Times. Today's show, if you're just tuning in or if you've been riding with us, is Cite the Power. Cite, C-I-T-E, the power.
And what's the definition of cite?
Definition of cite.
Because there's S-I-G-H-T, there's S-I-T, and then there's C-I-T. Those are three words that sound just alike.
Right, and you know something? Just to be right and exact here on the show, I'm gonna look up the dictionary's definition.
Yeah.
And then I'm also gonna cite, while that's happening, a great ancestor of ours. Many of you may know him, Rising Power, Baba Emil Labat.
We always give thanks for Baba Emil.
Who really helped heighten our awareness to this English language and the various manipulations of the linguistics and all sorts of things that we, again, received and have internalized and now do our own work in that regard, but were divinely inspired by him before he became an ancestor.
Yes.
And so that he is no longer in the physical realm, we still cite.
Yes, we do.
We still cite who is now a powerful ancestor because he was powerful here, and he left us with something.
Yes, he did.
And so.
And how could we ever take that away from him? We say rising power king. For him, a rising power Baba, because I think he didn't like the word king.
No,
for
he didn't
reason.
know king. He knew something about king, so it was
right.
more
rising power
Baba.
And we always talk about our sister. Why can't I think of her name? Frances Cresswell's there.
Right.
Rising Power Queen.
That's right.
And then we talk about our ancestors. It's a wave of honor.
Yeah.
Honor and reverence.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, and I know we'll get to it in this show because since we got another hour in front of us, we'll talk about the virtue of honoring.
Yes.
Honoring just in general, but honoring specifically in yourself and in your ability to honor other folk. But the word cite, C-I-T-E,
that's right,
is defined as, quote, a passage, book, or author as evidence for or justification of an argument or statement, especially in scholarly work. That's cite as a verb.
Scholarly work.
Scholarly work.
Yeah, I like it.
The next definition says to praise someone, typically a member of the armed forces, it says, typically a member of the armed forces, for a courageous act in an official dispatch. So that's what the verb cite means, just on the first dictionary search. And of course, Merriam-Webster has something that's a little bit more expansive: to call upon officially or authoritatively to appear as before a court. So there's a lot of official, quote-unquote official things that go along with that. This one says to quote by way of example, authority or proof cites several noteworthy authors. 3 is to refer to, especially, also to mention formally in commendation or praise. So, we're using it that way. But the way this language is set up, and the reason why I think, at least the reason why I called Baba Emil's name, is because cite, as you talked about, C-I-T-E, and cite, S-I-G-H-T, GHT, and Cite, SITE,
Yeah.
they all have the same vibration.
Yes, they do.
And that's one of the things that Bobby Emile was very clear with us about, is the vibration of the words. So that this is what he was saying, or what he was meaning, rather, when he would say how, or demonstratively, that English is a language of angles, because it isn't straight. It's angle. It's ENGL-ish. It's not straight. So you got all these words that sound the same, that are spelled differently, that essentially have different meanings, but the very same vibration. So there's no, so isn't it no wonder that there's a lot of confusion that takes place with regard to disseminating information within the English language, very deliberately so.
And so when we look at the etymology, and the etymology is going to be in the Google search. If you Google a definition of a word, you just got to keep looking. And it says from the Latin, Old French, from Latin to Old French. And it says late Middle English, originally with reference to a court, but it says to call. So from Latin citere, to call.
To call.
So that when we cite Francis Cresswell Sting, and when we cite Emile Labatt, we are giving thanks and calling on their brilliance.
That's right.
You know, and so even for people who are not ancestors, you're calling and saying, you know, thank you. You know, thank you for inspiring me.
That's right.
And like I said, this is not, people say, well, you want that acknowledgement, huh? It must be about your ego, then whatever. And it's not. It's general love and respect and support for brilliance that comes from people's minds that was inspiring to us. It was not yours.
Right.
And the thing about it is, when yours do come, you want somebody to cite you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a great arena, because, last night, and shout out to Muhammad Mas 46.
Yes.
For the Save Our Sons. So what they did, for folk who don't know, in response to the what to do to support growth and development in the direction of manhood for black boys and black young men here in the city of New Orleans, Muhammad Mas 46 essentially has taken, I want to say, getting ready to go into the 5th week, which is the final week, but I want to say 5 weeks of their normal FOI training night. That's Fruit of Islam. FOI, Fruit of Islam, the military, the men of the Nation of Islam here right here in the city of New Orleans, and dedicated that time to the development of black boys here in the city. And they offered this service completely free, put out the citywide call, and have not limited to the Nation of Islam, meaning that there are black men who have participated in giving instruction and presentations and various forms of support, who were not registered members of the Nation of Islam. And I'm stressing that because sometimes folk who are not as acquainted think that everything is a recruitment tool or a hustle, or that there's going to be a box and that people aren't able to be objective. But that's not what happens. That's not what happens, and that's not what happened. And so in the course of this, a brother who is in the Nation of Islam, but also does a tremendous amount of work here in the city. Last night, for example, this brother was doing a presentation about conflict resolution. And the brother before him had just done a presentation about communication. And these presentations were, again, these were for black boys, and you gotta be there, you'd have to be there. But, and I was there, and so I can just tell you that it wasn't, this is not a lecture where they're preaching to and just talking to the boys, and this is very engaging, very interactive. And so at any rate, the brothers were doing so well, I didn't even document it, because I was taking pictures for some of the brothers who were doing the presentation part, because, it's been done for me. And the brother was just, had went in so well on this and had such a compelling story about, personal story about what had happened to him and why, the whole conflict resolution thing was just critical to the survival and well-being of all of our people.
Yes.
That I told the brother, I said, man, he was doing so good, bro. I didn't even document the thing, man. And I'm saying that now publicly here on the air because I'm citing that what the brother did. Like
power.
What he did and what he said and what he had experienced and the way he shared that and imparted that with these young brothers.
Love it.
Was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just, that's an example. That's what we're talking about, like citing the power, citing how brilliant that brother was. I didn't take what I heard last night, him say.
That's right, Brother Shaq.
And then come on the radio and say, I was thinking.
Right,
like,
right.
What black folk need to do, because a lot of people do that kind of stuff.
Brother Shaq, it's
right.
ultimate in respect for your brother's mind.
Right.
And in the understanding that we do not take from each other. We
right.
don't. We've learned that from the recessive,
the dominant culture in America.
I'm tired of calling it the dominant culture, Brother Shaq.
Well, listen, we can call it whatever you want, but we know those folk who have come to be called white have constructed
Let's just
a culture.
call them the folks that come to be called white.
Have constructed a culture called racism.
We keep saying white supremacy, not talking about the lie of it. And when we talk about the vibration of what comes on out of our mouths, and we talk about, speaking it into existence, sometimes when we say white and supremacy together without saying that it's a lie or a myth, we're saying it. When we say the dominant culture, man, right. We are saying it. We know we're the ones who are dominant.
Indeed.
We are the dominant ones.
Indeed.
It comes on the level of your cellular level. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, and that's not, to say that to you or whatever.
No.
It's just an understanding of, I don't know what more to call it, something that's true, though. Something
sure.
like a true, I'm tired of saying the culture is dominant.
Well,
not in my life.
Right, and I agree, not in mine either, but we're talking about the American way of life.
Well, let's call it that.
Which is essentially what culture is a way of life, and that is definitely the American way of life, perpetrated or perpetuated by those people who have come to be called white, to just be all the way right and exact with it.
Let's go.
But the idea that everything is for the taking. You know what I'm saying?
That you take. It's yours. If it's out there in the universe, if it's out there in the ether, right. It's yours to take. And that's not fair. Because there's so much love, there's so much everything in the ether, and if somebody has given it to you out of their minds to yours, then cite the power. That's all. Right. It's not saying that you can't say it and you can't really push it and really but you say where you got it from.
Well, the thing that I was thinking about, something that I reflect on a lot, and it's like the most humbling series of thoughts, even for me personally. But when I really think about and hone in on and check, like my own integrity. And so when when a person doesn't cite it, that's an integrity thing.
I think so.
And it's an integrity thing. No one else may not know, but you ain't come up with that.
Yeah.
That wasn't you. You know where you got it from. And I think that it's a great opportunity that if that does happen for a person and they will allow themselves to reflect and submit on that whole idea, then they'll say, well, what's that about? Because it gives us great opportunities to say, well, the look of me, like I think Tamara Prosper was saying here on the Facebook Live, the look of me syndrome reminds me of a child seeking attention. In the absence of positive attention, any attention will do. I think it's learned from a young age, and it takes effort to unlearn.
Oh yes, ma'am. You hit the nail on the head. Yes.
Absolutely.
You got to be consciously unlearning too. You have to really conscientiously unlearn things. It doesn't just happen through osmosis.
But I also think, and the idea though, there's still something that's in there that I think is invisible unless we make it visible. And that's the idea where is the child who's seeking attention rightfully and righteously doing that? Has that child been cast aside?
Yeah.
has that child been ignored? Because that's the other thing too, that it's a deeper dive, but I think it's always worth consideration, because the behaviors, in line with the people with the look of me syndrome, there is usually something there. There is usually something there in the way of being silenced and being invisible.
For our people, especially. That's not where we're coming from.
Right, and I just wanted to lift that up too, because sometimes we may not recognize how sophisticated some of the things are, because they're responses to things. They're not really the pathology. They're just a response to something that has happened in whatever the stimulus is, or the stimulant. It's often invisibilized too. Kind of like what I was talking about denial earlier. Like it isn't enough to just say I'm in denial or I've been in denial. I really have to say specifically what I've been in denial about, to acknowledge that I have some understanding of the truth, and that there's maybe some hesitancy or something about confronting something that I knew or was concerned with, and I chose not to, and because I chose not to, then there was a series of other things that happened, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But I'm saying that I think dealing with it in a way that isn't passive is important for our sanity. And really getting resolution. It's not enough just to say it's denial. It's not enough to say, there you go with that look at me stuff. Like there's something in there though. Like maybe
there's something in there every time, especially for our people. And so we want to call out for first-time callers. Don't be scared. Let's invite new voices into this conversation. 504-260-9265, the solution line. 504-260-9265. We're, nearing
we're midpoint. We're at the midpoint.
Of our show. And the name and topic of the show is Cite the Power, CITE. Just to orient everybody back to what we're talking about. We're talking about when you are inspired by something someone says, something someone has written, something someone has coined, like a phrase or an understanding, that we should be citing where we got it from.
Definitely.
Something simple. It doesn't pay. You don't have to pay, right, to use it or anything like that. It's just giving homage to the person who created it.
Right.
Yeah.
And citing, I want to even kind of elongate it a little bit and just say citing with pride. Like, man, every time I've been many different places, and I've talked when it came up, because it's usually, again, when you do it authentically, it's not about pontificating, but when it comes up, like for example, I'm thinking about the colorism talk. When we were talking about colorism, and I understood what's going on with colorism, and I'm acquainted with colorism through my whole life, but then more recently in my life through our sister Barbara Major. And so I look at it through that lens now, and it makes perfect sense, and I understand. I've had the pleasure and the honor of working side by side for some years with Barbara Major. And so it's with great pride that I say that she said it, not for the sake of simply saying she said it, but I'm saying it with pride, because what I'm saying too simultaneously is I want you to know the thing that we're kicking around and talking about and debating was developed by a black woman, who is alive.
Yes.
Who
right here in New Orleans.
Who is right here in New Orleans.
Oh my God.
Whose name, rings all around the city for 40, 50 years, and I'm saying that with pride. Like that's a wonderful thing. So it would be disrespectful, not just from the standpoint of protocol, but disrespectful not to make that known too, because it's true. Like it's just true.
I never forget, Brother Shaq. I was a part of a group. I am not a part of it anymore, but I was a part of that group, and I'm always giving with my brilliance. I'm always like, and I like to analyze things. That's one of the things I love to analyze media. right? And I was analyzing some media, and I know that this was never said before. It was just coming up, and I was typing it, so excited. And then about a couple of months later, I saw somebody repost exactly what I had written without sharing it, but copying it and pasting it and reposted like they did it. This is in one of the groups that I was in, and so, you know, I didn't say anything. I just added a comment that, you know, I think we should say who said the very same thing. It was just copy and paste, but it's something that I had given. And boy, not even the person who did it was targeting me, but I mean, these people was like, kill yourself, you know, you crying over that, and I'm like, I'm not crying. I'm just saying that these are my words. These are the exact words that I said, without any type of, you know, I got this from whatever, I got this from her, I got the, you know, like, you could have just pressed the share button. You could have just pressed the share button and you would have shared. But sometimes it's about, you want to be seen as brilliant too,
right?
You know, but the reaction I got, I was like, I'm no longer a part of this group anymore. And I didn't go back. They asking me all the time to come back because I was a very important person in that space. But I said, nah, I'm not going to stand in this group and be disrespected, because I wasn't even asking for anything. Just saying that we should consider, you know, if you are using somebody else's thoughts to cite the power. But it was the reactions that I got, like, you know, oh, you whining, and I'm like, huh? And I didn't write anything whining. I'm just standing up for myself and my intellectual property, because I broke this whole thing down, and we should share when people do their type of work. You know, so these things really do happen, and we, you know, I hope Barbara Major has never had to deal with that before, but I'm sure she has as a black woman.
More than likely.
Because we're not standing up for her. Matter of fact, we tell her, you little whiny baby, you know, we do that kind of thing to women, period, but definitely to black women.
Right, and I wanna dig more into that. I hate that you had that experience.
Well, sure, you know, they missed me, trust me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always gonna be someone else's loss, but I just hate that you had to experience that because you didn't deserve that.
No, I don't ever like that. I don't ever like experiencing things, but what it is an example of what my sisters go through all the time. You know, I'm so glad that I don't go through that all the time, but when it does happen, I'm like, dang, I wonder how my sisters actually, you know, how do we move through this world? You know what I'm saying?
I want to explore that too. As it relates to Cite the Power. Do we have a Jazz? Do we have a caller? Okay, so we do have a call holding. Thank you for holding. Welcome to True Love Movement Tuesdays. What's happening?
Listen, how you doing?
Hey, what's happening?
Turn this down.
I'm just chilling. How you doing?
All right, how are you? Timmy?
Hey, how you doing, Mama? How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fine.
All right, good. What's your question, or what's your comment?
I gotta see it, so I gotta keep on listening.
Okay. All right, thank you, brother. Thank you for calling in.
Right on. So you know, Mama Fire, what I was thinking right before the caller, when you said about, you know, the black women and what black women are experiencing and have experienced and typically do experience is, it's definitely worth digging into. But, you know, in a way, because I know that black women have a different relationship to that, and the idea or the notion of being silenced, you know, someone exerting power over them and what they have to say. And of course, that's a whole nother thing in the ways that, you know, black women have historically been exploited, you know, from their creativity, because they, you know, folks just took their ideas and ran with them. And I wanted to address that a little bit more, because there is a lot of that that's happening, and that doesn't get near the attention. And I want to talk about it. I also want to invite our listeners to chime in at 504-260-9265. And for our Facebook Live family, as well in the comment section. I know we got Tiffany George that has joined us. Hello, Shira. Shira's there. Raz Boo. I'm glad to see Raz Boo, man. Been so busy, hadn't seen Raz Boo in a while, but he's still smoking every weekend over there at Club Caribbean and a second line near you, and anything that you want, get with that brother. We got Ebony Dooley Johnson. She's there. I know she's expecting, and thank you for joining us. Sister Rashawn, Mas 46 again, thank you for joining us, dear sister.
Oh, yes.
We're just contemplating what you talked about, Mama Faya, as a black woman.
Yeah.
Having your ideas or thoughts stolen and then repackaged and resold, and both being like indignant with you about talking about it is a well-known, seldom discussed cultural phenomenon that is, I think, exclusive to black women. And it's not happening simply because you said something brilliant. It's rooted in a much deeper thing, rape culture. Rape culture is defined by True Love Movement. But I thought it worth discussing it, bringing it up just a little bit into the conversation, so that that you're not, so it's understood that it's not unreasonable. First of all, it's unreasonable for someone to violate you and take something that's yours. That's unreasonable. It's not unreasonable for you to state that happened. That's the first thing. That's the first thing fundamental. There's nothing, and so, a lot of the time sisters will talk about the same kind of thing happening, and I know you had a similar experience. I mean, that's not the only time it happened. It happened in the real world, not just in the virtual world, with like meetings and,
Oh, yeah.
where you had the idea and folk didn't hear it, and then next week it was somebody else had the idea and somebody else just regurgitated what you said, and everybody thought it was a great idea. And sometimes you think maybe you tripping, but I mean, it's just I know, folks. That's another thing, and maybe we'll do a show about that, Mama Fire. But I realize in what's known, I guess now as popular culture, is this idea that, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's antisocial behavior is what it is, but it's like somebody provokes you or does you something, and then they say, oh, you mad, huh? You big mad. Like, they messing with you, and you having a human response to it, but somehow,
you're wrong. You become the wrong.
You wrong because it's kind of like, it's definitely related to a first cousin to the whole in your feelings thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like something has happened or is happening to you, and you're having a normal human response, and then being criticized for that, or even chastised for having that normal human response, as though you ain't supposed to have that.
Yeah.
And to the degree though, where it affects what you say and what you do, and then you internalize or bottle up all of the stuff, the feelings, because ain't nobody gonna listen to you, ain't nobody gonna, and this goes for just all of our people, black men, women, and children. But I know there's always something happening specifically too with black women because of the backdrop of rape culture that exists as defined by True Love Movement. But I know that.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I think, anything that we see as female, anything we see as feminine, not female, anything we see as feminine is supposed to be taken from and not replenished and not acknowledged, that we've learned. Yeah, and we've learned to do that. And I think, Brother Shaq, truthfully, we had to have the conversation at the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah.
Because I know that, I was like, you were just saying something that I had told you, something that we had a real deep conversation about. and I was teaching, but you were, as soon as you talked to somebody else, you were saying as though you had made it up.
Right.
And I had to pull you. This is right at the beginning of our relationship. I had to pull you and say, Brother Shaq, we got to make sure, you know, you don't take my words. You know, like you weren't inspired by my words, and you know, I started taking yours, you know, but that didn't feel good. It didn't feel good to do that. It always feels good to say, you know what Brother Shaq says, Brother Shaq. You know, it don't make me feel like I'm jocking Brother Shaq. It just means I'm saying, dang, that brother brilliant, and I want to tell you what he says. Right. You know, and I think that's part of it too. We think when we say the acknowledgement, that's us jocking them. Like,
what is that about?
Yeah, I mean, do people even say that anymore? I think they say jokes.
But they got that, you know, they got that snowball stand. We free press right up there in the sunball to stop jocking snowball.
So dude, stop jocking, baby.
I ain't never been, but they say it's called stop. I seen it. It's called
That's
stop.
my trucker like that one.
So
they do.
So the idea, you know, jocking, that's probably more our time. I don't know what they say now.
Joe's, I think.
But the kicker is, though, you look at that's real deep too, because you riding on something that people say that is a bad thing, but they like it. I mean, that's a whole nother show.
I thought it was jockey, like being a jockey for somebody, but I could have been wrong.
Right.
I know it was stop jockeying, but But you're right, stop riding.
Right, stop riding. But everybody like riding, and then, you know, the giver and the receiver. So there's a whole. But you know, they do say, like, particularly in that the culture, those people who have come to be called white say, it's one of the derogatory things they say, you're being such a D, you know, like it's
they sure do. They use that much more than we do.
But as phallic as everything is, and phallic is the whole thing. So there's a lot of confusion because it's contradictory. So there's some kind of internal struggle, which means there's going to be some kind of external struggle. But anyway, like what you were saying about citing the power and us early on, I think that's the other part, that when you have lots of experience or numerous experiences with something that is offensive, or you find offensive, or you feel offensive, then that also raises a sensitivity to it. So that's part of the collateral damage. You know, for anyone, that people can have certain kinds of intentions, but if you've got a tender spot and somebody rubs it, whether they did it intentionally or did it accidentally, it feels the same way, and so then you respond, you know, in kind. But we do have the lines lit up, and I'm going to give it before we answer, because we want to invite y'all in. We hear the rain outside, so you might be in there. Share this show with people you respect. We still got more show to go. Just to catch you back up, this is Cite the Power on True Love Movement Tuesdays, this July 23rd, 2019, fresh off in the Leo season. Thank you for holding, caller. What's happening? Hey man, what's happening?
What's the word, brother?
Those people you trying to find a name to call, they're mimicking African cookery, Creole. You understand?
Yes, they are, brother.
Yeah. So their food, they basically cooking shrimp, crab, oysters. We ain't did in Africa, brother and sister. The sauces and everything.
Yes.
I keep telling y'all before, all this started in Islamic Black African Spain.
Yes,
the same shrimp, the same fish, the same chicken, the same broccoli, snap beans and greens. That they mimicking that. But look, we have a New Orleans channel here. I look at it all the time. All these restaurants popped up with the name Creole. Creole came out of African Islamic Spain. So, brothers and sisters, these people can't help themselves because they never had anything before. I keep telling you this. They mimic African American cooking styles. They love it so much till it's like, I can't do nothing. I can't find nothing of my own to present to the world. They're heavy on cheese. They're heavy on sugar. They're heavy on cream. You know what I'm saying? But the cooking they cook in these Creole restaurants, African people been cooking this style for ages before it even reached America. Our people been pot cooking for centuries.
Right on.
On the plantation, Who are the main cooks on the plantation?
Our people we know.
Yeah, there you go, sister. Now, the main wife may have gotten in the kitchen, might have learned something from somebody. She baked a bread, she baked a pie, she made some kind of little sweet mint julep, but we know where that drink came from. All the fruit juices and punch, we know where it came from.
That's right.
Now, sister, you say you put something up one day. That's just like Donald Trump's wife flattering Michelle Obama's speech.
She showed
understand?
She showed
I'm going to use that one example of what you're talking about. That woman plagiarized Michelle Obama's speech, and the person who took yours down and put something similar to yours, that's plagiarizing to me.
Yes, it is.
Now, brother and sister, here we go. The Lion King. You know what this movie is really about? This is a satire, cartoon, comic movie about the British Crown. The old lion holds the baby lion up, lets you know what's coming in the future. All the little monkeys, all the animals cheering on.
Come on.
Do you know what that is? That's a satire of another Tarzan movie.
Right.
The symbol of the British symbol is a lion. It belongs to Richard Lionheart, who got kicked out of Jerusalem by a brother years ago. So his symbol was the lion. So they call it, there you go, now you're getting it. The British was always known as the Lion Kingdom. You know, another symbol of colonialism.
That's right.
So that's what's happening here in America. It's an extension of European domination, of colonialism. But they got so many gadgets, twists, and turns. It may look like this, look like that, but it's the same colonial power symbol of the British lion. But, you know, they got all kinds of similar, you know, they burn the cross and all this kind of stuff. But it's the same symbol of European domination and colonialism.
Right on.
Your brother gonna leave it right there. Thank
you. Drops the mic. Thank you, brother. And you know, I had a note to talk about, because someone was talking about some scholarly or whatever, and we are the true scholars.
Definitely.
Like everything was stolen. Everything was stolen and said that they created it, in universities and mathematics and science and astronomy and astrology and all these different things came out of Africa, and it was stolen and taken as if, yoga, come on, I mean, all these things that everybody want to do right now, and they want to cite everybody else except for Africa, except for black people of this world. And so we're talking macro here. We're talking macro. And when we get down to the micro, how can we get our things back?
Yeah.
How can we get the things back? We can by making sure that we're not stealing.
Right.
We're not doing what was done to us. We're not stealing from each other.
Right.
You know, we can do that. And I mean not stealing money, not stealing material things, not stealing ideas, not stealing thoughts,
integrity,
we can do that for ourselves. Why would we think that white people wouldn't steal from us? They've stolen from us forever, right? So we keep it away from them, we keep it secured and locked down so no one can steal it. But then what about us? Right. What about the black nation? We don't steal from each other.
No. As the brother Keith was saying, our caller, and he's been calling True Love Movement.
We love you, Brother Keith.
For 5 years now. We're here with True Love Movement Tuesdays, and we appreciate his support and all the support from our longtime listeners of the True Love Movement programming here on WBOK 1230 and Real Talk for Real Times in New Orleans. I was looking up what he was talking about, and he was talking about plagiarism. He gave the example when Michelle Obama's speech was plagiarized, and that was, publicly. I didn't know. I confess I didn't hear her speech, and I didn't hear the other speech either. But I know what.
That was all over social media.
Right, but I know
obviously plagiarized.
I'm clear. That's what they do. But what's interesting is I'm looking at it right now on the screen, family. The word plagiarism, it's defined as the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as your own, which is what we're saying not to do. That's why we're saying citing the power. Cite the power is the antidote. It's the reason. It's the solution.
Yes, it is.
to plagiarism, which many folk are doing. But it is important to know during the etymology of the word, in our due diligence, as Baba Lamil Labat had inspired and instructed, that it comes from the early 17th century, a Latin word, plagiaris.
Come on,
Plagiarius.
Yes.
And plagiarius means kidnapper.
Uh-oh.
Plagiarius.
That's right in line with Brother Keith, yes.
Means kidnapper. From plagium, a kidnapping. From Greek, plagion. So, plagiarize, the idea that there is such a thing called plagiarize, with synonyms like piracy, theft, appropriation, stealing, poaching.
Who are the pirates? Who are the appropriators? Who are the stealers
Who are
and
the
kidnappers? We don't want to be in line with that, y'all.
It's a different culture.
It's a different culture, and some people do want to be in line with that because that's what they see is powerful.
Right.
And what's really powerful is us being who we really are. We don't have to steal anybody's ideas. We have our own.
Shout out to our sister Nzinga for joining us, and we want to make sure Keisha Divine, shout out to you as well.
Yes.
And for everyone who has joined us, will join us, will share the show.
Please share the show
with people that they respect.
It's a good show, though. I think, it's just an idea. It's just a paradigm shift in putting it forward. Like, this is a practical solution, is making sure if you say something that you just cite where it came from.
Yeah.
If you are inspired by our people, and we use a quote as somebody says, or we use, some verbiage or phrases or, formulas that other people use, that we just cite it.
And I wanted to, again, elongate that and say citing it with pride, just because it is a beautiful thing to acknowledge the brilliance of another who's inspired you.
Yes.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing. A, because you're a brilliant person, and that's why it was able to resonate with you. And B, that is the just us, the JUSTUS that we are talking about.
Yes,
it is
just
us. And it is something we can do. And folk really do, that they've told me, Mama Fi, really do appreciate that. Some people play small and they're like, oh no, I don't want to say anything, but some people do that because they just haven't developed to where they can receive a compliment. But I think people have expressed that they appreciated it being said. They appreciated it being said that somebody said that. Our sister Tamara Prosper saying here on Facebook, as I'm saying she's typing, stealing, my husband has had several business plans and ideas. He pitched them and tried to get resources to bring them to fruition. He didn't get the funding, but we've seen several similar businesses emerge afterward, mostly created and run by members of the so-called dominant group who came here after Katrina. He's not pitching publicly anymore.
Good.
We're figuring out how to make it happen in other ways.
Good.
That is I really hate that happened and has happened, and I can just say that there are so many people who are watching the show on Facebook Live right now, and you could be one of them if you like the True Love Movement page. You can see us here live in the studio. But also folks listening on the airwaves of WBOK 1230 AM, who have had a similar situation, who have had the same kind of thing happen, who have, the fact that we have this ability to just imagine things.
Yes.
That aren't there, tying it into faith, as you were saying, being able to imagine the things that we do not yet see, do not yet have physical form, that we can have that after and in the wake of this multi-generational dehumanization suffered by our people. The fact that we can still have that is what is so wondrous to the people who are exploiting us and oppressing us.
Yes, it is.
Because they can't how could anyone be so happy, so imaginative, so creative, so persistent,
so joyful, so beautiful, so amazing.
So they're in awe, and that awe looks like, well, because let me say this, Sister Prosper, True Love Movement has had lots of ideas.
Oh, yes.
And we watch many of our ideas and things that we've done. People are recycling them. You were just telling me that yesterday. Somebody's having a Get Your Mind Right thing.
Festival. Get Your Mind Right
Get
Festival.
Your Mind Right Festival.
Oh, man.
There's somebody else had something about mental health for, who was it for? Black children or black people or children going back to school. All these kinds of things, and I remember, man, people were not talking about mental health
specifically
for black people at all, publicly, anywhere that I heard, in the local scene at least, and we know, and this is not about anything other than the fact that we know it's true. It's part of the reason why we did it, because it wasn't being done.
Yeah.
It was something that needed to happen.
And there's so much to be done. We want people to do what they
Absolutely.
need to, but just cite where you gotta get your mind right from. Because some people, we made that a tagline because people were taking that they were taking it bad. They weren't taking it like, oh yeah, we need to get our minds right. We were saying, get your mind right, and people were taking it like we the authorities, and we saying, well, our minds are right, your minds need to be right. So people, we had to work that out for a long time when True Love Movement first started, and saying, when we saying get our minds right, we're talking about like away from what we learned, who we are, the box of what we learned we are from the so-called, I like the way Tamara said that, so-called dominant culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we need to move ourselves away from a colonized mind.
Ooh, yeah.
Get our minds right. Get our minds into understanding who we are and our proper place on the planet. So we championed that tagline for years, Brother Shaq. We talked about it and talked. We got shirts that said. We talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. And I mean, yeah.
So and the deal is, for example, that's an example, and that was years ago.
Yes.
Like that wasn't like 1 year or 2 years. That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And
more than that.
More than that, perhaps. Yeah. But I mean, it was so long ago that, and so what we're saying is that's an example of a remixed thing that's been done, that we did, and ain't nothing wrong with being inspired. But it's like, come on, you can come up with something else, and if you don't come up with something else, and you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with saying, listen, man, we got an idea some years ago. We checked them out. We thought maybe it could have gone differently. We want to improve the idea, so we want to do it that way. And because I would do, I don't know, I think I can come up with enough stuff myself than doing what other people have done. But if I was ever just so enamored by something someone had done that thought, man, that's the thing, I want to do that too, I would still go to them and ask them about it, and ask them how they felt about it, and
man, I would be
something, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I would be completely happy with saying, inspired by True Love Movement, we decided we was you don't even much have to ask. Because, I mean, that's when we talk about getting our mind, we gotta get your mind right. We talk about that all the time, but we used it for mental health, specifically for black people.
Right.
And we made it into something very powerful. And I know the person who is doing this festival knows that and remembers that. And just did not feel like they should have, feel like they needed to, or feel like they needed to honor us in any way. And that's the part. Mental health work, we need to do this work, right? All of us personally need to do this work, and then we need to share out and help each other. But that's not in the spirit of helping each other.
Well, a lot of what we've done,
that's in the spirit of taking.
Right. A lot of what we've done, particularly with words and with this English language, it's like today's show, Cite the Power. We will flip something. Like we'll take something like to get your mind right, the way we've been always helping to get your mind right. And that's in rap records. We aren't the first people to say get your mind right.
Right.
But we took it and we flipped it because it was familiar to people.
Yes.
And used it in a way that was potentially a little bit off-putting, and then worked through that for them to get, oh yeah, that's what's happening. And that's just one example. I mean, there's
so many
Oh,
examples.
cool.
So many examples. And we
Oh,
would always say,
cool.
get your mind right. Because, Brother Shaq, you are very a stickler with spelling words right, even if it's a tagline. But we want to be serious about this thing. It's not get your mind right. It's get your mind right.
Right.
Get your mind into understanding who you are, black woman, who you are, black man, who you are, black child. Like, get into, so, nobody can take that level of organization and level of activism from us. Not even with something like a flimsy, festival, mental health. I don't understand, how do we have a mental health festival? I just don't know. I don't know what's so festive about mental health. And why are we, I guess we may be trying to take the stigma away, but mental health is very serious.
Right.
I don't know any physical health festivals. There might be a resource fair or something for physical health things, but I don't know anybody saying, let's have a heart disease festival, or let's have a, and I know we need to, in New Orleans it's festivals, right? But mental health is something serious that we need to be sitting down with each other, talking about the stigma, talking about, what it looks like for children, what are the symptoms of depression, what can we do for anxiety. It's not let's eat some cotton candy, which is probably causing some issues with all the sugar in fake colors and all that. And it's not me being like that, Brother Shaq. I'm just saying it's so serious. That's why I was get your mind right.
Listen,
like.
I laugh only because I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because of how kind of ridiculous it is that it's even happening. And I was looking at the brother Sean Bay here. Shout out to our brother Sean Bay.
Hey, Brother Sean Bay.
People's Assembly. He was saying they could include you all in the research that you've
Come
already
on,
done.
brother. That would just be the smart thing to do. Just reach out to True Love Movement, because we've been doing this for 11 plus years right here in the New Orleans community.
But I think too, like we started, Brother Sean B, and thank you for that. It's this thing is deeper. I mean, the citing of the power and the plagiarism and those kind of things are still rooted in a show, or rooted in something that you did on the show. We did on the show, but this was one of the ones topics you would come up with when you're dealing with worth and value. I mean, I know we collaborated on it, but the idea of being invaluable. Like,
yes,
people so much want to be valued and valuable that they'll just, they'll try to grab. And let me say this. And this probably be the last time we're gonna talk about the so-called dominant culture, is you and Sister Tamara have made sure we keep right and exact. But that's thank you. But
you're welcome. I made sure to make some tea today, y'all.
But that's what that's really about. The value that we really want, family, and I want everybody who's watching, or if you're listening, or if you'll watch it later, I want you to catch this part. What's really going on is, more than anything, our people have a longing, and it is a collective and perhaps even ancestral, but definitely historical longing to be valued by the so-called dominant culture. What's valuable to those of us who are politically designated as black is determined by what is valuable to those people who have come to be called white. That is the value. That is the litmus test. That is the value stick. And so that just supports what we already know. That supports the white folks' business. Ice is colder, and it's just that. It's nothing new that's happening. But we should be cognizant of it as people, just for our sanity's sake, for the purposes of getting our mind right. That when we're perceived as valuable is only after, the dominant, those who have come to be called white say something is valuable. That's what it is, Mama Father.
Yeah.
That's the real, quote unquote, the real issue, I think, that's happening.
I think so. I think, you know, and we're talking in relationship to the so-called dominant culture, because this is where we get it from as a people, taking and pillaging and pirating and stealing. But the True Love Movement Hour and True Love Movement Tuesdays, we always concentrate on our people, period. Our people. Because what we're not doing is begging anybody else to come and treat us fairly.
Right.
What we are saying is, if we agree that these things happen to us, then let's not perpetuate those things on our people.
Right.
Let's not do that to ourselves. Let's not steal. Let's not kidnap. Let's not plagiarize. Let's not do these things and take from each other. You know, and so, ay.
Well, I think the best part is, Mama Fire, that as this one is winding down, this fast 2 hours, and the weather is outside it's a little bit rainy, and hopefully folks out there being careful if you are out there still. It gives us an opportunity to reflect on something, because you brought up some great points opening up the show, and as we talked about the upcoming party on August 4th,
coming up,
2019,
yes,
which
yes,
is essentially a birthday party that you and I are sharing, but also a fundraiser for True Love Movement. You know, since there's nothing else like True Love Movement, you know, and so what I'm thinking is that what we'll find out, because sometimes some of these things, Mama Fire, as you've been saying, you know, frankly, and, you know, I guess we've been feeling individually and collectively differently, that, you know, maybe that's the people just don't want it, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe the people aren't inspired or inclined or think that it's necessary for there to be something like this just for our people, you know? And they're going to show us one way or the other on August 4th, 2019 in Cafe Istanbul, with more details on the way. But it's an opportunity, because I remember a brother, and I'll cite him, who he's a barber, he's been on the show, and he and I have done work together with many different things. You know, we started off talking about Mos 46, and he's traveled, he's moved. But Brother Walter, I remember when Brother Walter ran for political office here. I wasn't part of that. And he said he didn't win. And not long after that, he also moved. But he said that, I said, Brother Walter, hey man, look, we appreciate what he said. Listen, man, you know, it's cool. The people didn't want it. You know, we ran a good campaign. You know my integrity, you know my track record, and the people didn't want it. And he accepted that. You know what I'm saying? And so we do recognize that though we may have so much love for our people, right, Mama Fire, and want so much for our people, we just got to find out if this is a relationship where there's some reciprocity, or if it's just a one-way thing. And we look forward to seeing you all who are listening and watching on.
Yes, we do, on August 4th. So listen up. You know, people who are listening, this is True Love Movement's first fundraiser. We have been doing this for so many years, you know, 18 years. You know, it began with my own journey. It began with my own stuff, and it was gifted to me divinely, you know, and so we've never asked anybody for anything. We never had a fundraiser. We are having a fundraiser August 4th, 2019, and we are celebrating both my birthday and Brother Shaq's birthday.
That's
and we
right.
need you to come through.
That's right.
Yeah.
Details on the way, family. Share this show with people that you respect. Like us on Facebook, True Love Movement. Follow True Love Movement on Instagram, Twitter, TLMHR. And check out that True Love Movement, our YouTube channel. Our good brother, Truth Ambassador Brian Foy, he's on it. So, Brother Shaq.
And Mama Fire.
True Love Movement Tuesdays. Hold this. All right.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for being here.
I'm still dropping your juice, yeah. Haters over here and haters over there. Blocking my.
Not yet.
Oh, you want to, but you better beware. I'm still dropping your juice, yeah.
August 4th, Cafe Istanbul, y'all. y'all. Y'all be there.